Hello everyone and welcome to this week's behind the scenes devlog video, and this week I'm doing a bit more work on the entity system. So it's already Thursday, and the reason for this is that I was planning to do a normal devlog video this week, but then I had a change of plan yesterday so that I'd have a bit more time to work on this week's tutorial. So far this week I've been working on the tooltips. I added a few more of them into the game, and I also made them automatically scaled to fit the amount of text that they need to display. I've also been doing lots of work on the particle effect system, making sure that they rotate and scale with the entities, and that allowed me to add in a death animation for the juniper tree. And finally, I did a bit of work on optimizing the particle effects and made sure that only entities near to the camera would emit particle effects and that ones in the distance don't, and that's obviously for efficiency reasons. So it is 20 past 11, it's a lovely morning today, and I'm just enjoying some delicious blueberries at the moment. But progress this morning has been a little bit slow because I'm working on a topic that's a little bit complicated and tricky. Basically, I'm working on how entities are stored in the world, and at the moment they're just stored in a grid system. But the only way that I can really query this grid system is to ask it to give me all the entities with a certain species ID from a certain grid square. So I could say, give me all the sheep from that grid square and it will return all the sheep, or I could say, give me all the grass and it will give me all the grass. But for some of the stuff that I'm going to be implementing soon, and also for the feeding functionality that I did recently, I need to be able to query it in a more complex way than that. So, for example, I need to be able to say, give me all the plants in that area, and it would return everything that's a plant, all the trees, all the bushes, all the grass, all the shrubs, all the stuff like that. Or I might want to say, give me all the bushes, and it will only return the entities that are bushes. So at the moment I can't do that, and so I've been working on planning out how I'm going to do this. Obviously I'm going to need some sort of hierarchical classification structure like this, which I talked a bit about a couple of weeks ago when I was doing the feeding stuff, but I'm still not really happy with how I implemented that, and I want to make it so that I can use it more generally, not just for the feeding functionality. So I've been planning out that. I've been trying to work out how I'm going to store entities in this structure, how I'm going to add them, remove them, update them, and all of that good stuff. And I'm pretty much done with my plans now. I'm just finalizing them now, and in a minute I will start implementing them into the code. It is 10 to 6 in the evening now, and I've been working all day on this classification stuff, but I finally finished implementing it into the code, and it's all working pretty nicely, and I'm pretty happy with it. I'll actually put a download link for this classification code in the description, so you can have a look at it if you're interested, because I realise this devlog's going to be a little bit boring and there's not much going on, so you can have that as a kind of compensation. So basically, the way that this classification system works is that each grid square in the world now has a classification structure, but it only creates the nodes that it needs for the entities that it contains. So for example, if I add 3 grass entities to a grid square, then it would only create the nodes necessary to classify the grass. And if I was then to add a berry bush entity, you can see that it would then add extra nodes to classify the berry bush as well. And if I was to remove this entity, it would then automatically remove these extra nodes. So it's continuously dynamically resizing itself to make sure it's as small as possible. And I also implemented a key system to make sure it's really quick at accessing entities of a certain species. So that's all good, that's all working, and that's pretty much all I've been doing this afternoon. I did actually also make some oatcakes as well, but apart from that, I've just been working on this classification code. So I'm going to stop now. I'm going to go and get outside a bit before dinner, maybe go for a jog in the park if I can be bothered, and then I will get back to work later this evening. So nothing really else to show you in the game today, but I can show you what I made for dinner, which is obviously a load of chicken. Not all for me, by the way, and I think I kind of overdid some of it because I was a little bit worried about underdoing it, but it smells pretty nice, so hopefully it will taste nice as well. It is 7:30 on Friday morning, and I wish I could say that today's going to be more interesting than yesterday, but it's probably not going to be, because although I've implemented all the classification stuff now, I still need to integrate it into the game so that the game's actually using it, and that is probably going to take me all day. It is coming up to lunchtime now, and I've just been working all morning on integrating this new entity classification stuff into the game, which is taking a while because it's quite a big part of the game, so there's a lot of old code to swap out and a lot of stuff to link up with it. So I'm still working on that at the moment, so I really have absolutely nothing that I can show you in the game at the moment. So instead, I thought I would show you this, which is a 3D printed version of one of the trees in Equilinox, which I got ages ago actually. I found a website where you could upload a model file and they'd print it out and send it to you, so that's what I did. I'll put a link to that website in the description in case you're interested. But yeah, that is pretty much all I've got to show you this morning. Just taking a quick break this afternoon to work a bit more on this week's tutorial, which this week is going to be about cube map reflection. So you can see that this dragon model here is now reflecting the skybox, which is all around it, and that creates quite a nice effect on the dragon. And I'll actually post a link to download this program in the description below, so you can actually run that and see this effect for yourself. And you can see that you can get quite a few nice different material effects with this technique. So that's pretty cool. Also, while I was doing this, I found a website where you can download some free cube map textures, which you could use for skyboxes or environment maps in your game. So that's pretty nice, and I'll put a link to that in the description as well. And I'm sure that that will be of some use to some of you. It is 11:30 in the evening now, and I finally finished integrating all of this entity classification stuff into the game, and it's all working like a charm, so that's good. So you can see an example of it here in the sheep's species information GUI. You can see that the sheep is part of the medium-sized herbivores category, which is a subcategory of herbivores, which is a subcategory of animals, and that is obviously a subcategory of everything. I probably won't actually show this in the GUI, I might just show the first category that the sheep is a part of. But this is all going on behind the scenes, and although this update took a long time, this is definitely something that I needed to do, and it's going to make a lot of difference in the coming weeks. Being able to get entities and get information about entities based on their category is going to be extremely useful, and it's going to be very important for a lot of functionality that I'm going to be adding in the coming weeks. So hopefully this is going to allow me to make much quicker progress next week, and then I can finally get back to adding species into the game, which is what I thought I would be doing this month mostly, but I was wrong. It turns out that I had a lot more to do with the entity system than I had planned on, but hopefully after next week I think I should finally be able to get back to just adding species into the game and not having to worry too much about updating the entity system. So that is pretty much going to be it for this week, and I don't really have anything else that I can show you, except of course for what I cooked for dinner last night, which was a delightful garlic and spinach soup, and I also baked some bread for the first time, which was pretty nice, although I did use a bit too much flour. But apart from that, I don't really have anything else that I can show you this week. So check out the stuff in the description. Hopefully you'll find some of that useful or interesting, and that will make up for the fact that there wasn't really anything else going on in this video. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching this video. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you all next time.